Okay, here we are, Banko Hoppy Hour, episode 2. What we're doing here at Banko is we're trying to show people how Banko and our beer business and our total overall business translates into the Lehigh Valley as a whole. So, spring is in the air, and March, St. Patrick's Day is over. First day of spring's on its way. So what I think about is baseball, and everybody loves baseball, and we can't wait. We watch spring training ball, and man, we just can't wait for that first game. So saying that, our guest here today is Kurt Landis. Kurt Landis is the president and general manager of the Lehigh Valley IronPigs, and the IronPigs are a great success story here in the Lehigh Valley, entertain many, many people, and they are also a customer of ours, to be fair, and we're quite happy with our relationship with the IronPigs. So just want to have a few questions here for Kurt, and he can let us know. So, Kurt, on President GM, day-to-day, what's your function?
That's a hard one to answer off the bat, as it were. The job description really changes every day, and it changes in different times of the year as well. But inherently, Joe, my job, besides making sure that everyone else does their job, as I think about a lot in terms of managing relationships. You have clients and you have sponsors and fans and vendors such as Banko, but your ownership, the Phillies and Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball, our league, our employees, be it full-time, part-time. And I think a large part of that is managing, when employees want something and ownership doesn't, or the Phillies want something and Major League Baseball doesn't, or our sponsors might want something and it conflicts with what another group wants. And you're in the middle managing that, and you're trying to make it as successful as possible. So I think that's a big part of my job is being involved in the community and managing the expectations and relationships, and then you try to challenge your staff to be the best that they can be in terms of selling as many tickets as possible or sponsorships and trying to make us successful. But it's not just about making money, as it were, for the IronPigs. I'm very blessed to work for an organization that believes deeply in not just hitting our goals, but also giving back to the community. We have our own 501c3 IronPigs Charities Foundation. I think we are allowed to be very unique and creative in what we do promotionally in the Lehigh Valley, and it's a lot of fun. It's just about having a lot of hands and a lot of involvement in the organization that give you feedback, because it's really kind of owned by the community. It's owned by the fans, and it's a great responsibility to take all that feedback and to make it a incredible, fun, affordable entertainment experience that we take a lot of pride in.
Yes. We're an employer of people in the Lehigh Valley. We love that. So I know you're a full-time employee, but how many full-time employees do you have compared to like part-time? I know there's guys that I could see my friends, like they're there at the parking for games and stuff, but what's your staff look like, 365?
Sure. So we have full-time, year-round salaried employees, 45 employees. From anywhere from myself to an executive chef to directors of sales or directors of merchandise and finance. Part-time, we have about 550 employees, and some of those work with us seasonally from January or February all the way through September of our season, and some just work on game days only coming in. So we'll probably hire at our highest, which is coming up here with the season starting in just a week and a half. We'll hire probably in total maybe 700 to 750 individuals, and at the ballpark at one time there's usually about 400 people working a specific game.
Yeah, I've gone to many games, and it's a lot of people running around there. It's a big operation. A lot of people. Yeah. I don't think people realize the scope of what a triple A, absolute triple A organization, what it is, and how intensive it is.
I describe it to people in two different ways, maybe to kind of get a sense of the size of the operation. One, it's the largest restaurant in the Lehigh Valley. To have 10,000 people be served in about a 2.5-hour time frame Nowhere else does that in Lehigh Valley. So food and beverage is a critical part of the operation in terms of you smell the popcorn and hot dogs, but it's not just that simple. There's so many. We have a total menu of about 150 items, which makes it a large restaurant as well. I also put it into perspective for people when they plan a wedding, like, oh my gosh, that was a lot of work. I had to do, bridesmaids and trips and what we're wearing and, all these things and travel. It's like that for us as well. You have travel arrangements and what you're wearing, and they have a different theme. So you might have a theme for your wedding, and we have a different theme for our 75 home games. And so not every home game is exactly the same. If it were, it'd be a little bit easier for us. But you want to make it a unique, special event each time someone comes to the ballpark. And you want people to come to the ballpark more than just once a year.
Yep. So the Iron Pigs, where does the Iron Pigs, how do they rate among, your AAA, your peers, okay? So as far as attendance and how you're rated as an organization, from everything I've ever heard, you guys are, in the top echelon of AAA.
Yeah, we've been blessed. Last year, and even in our 16th season, last year we were number one in all of minor league baseball in attendance. There's 120 teams currently in minor league baseball, and that ranges from markets and cities as big as Indianapolis, Charlotte, Jacksonville, Columbus, Ohio, Sacramento. So you're talking large NBA/NFL size markets, Buffalo. Right. So for us to be, out of 30 AAA teams and 120 across all of minor league baseball, but out of 30 AAA teams, we're only the, rate 27th out of 30 in terms of market size. But to be number one in attendance says a lot about the community support, and that goes from our corporate partnerships that really help us keep our ticket prices low and keep our food and beverage prices low. And when you have a affordable but yet great product that relies on guest service, fun entertainment and promotions, people come. And then when people come, sponsors continue to come. And you just don't ever want to break that cycle. And we have a great public partner with Lehigh County. That's a great facility. We both reinvest in the facility to make sure it's beautiful, looks brand new. Well, if people come to our ballpark and say, oh, man, this must be 2, 3, 4 years old. I'm like, no, this is now a 16, 17-year-old ballpark. Like, wow. For example, Scranton Wilkes-Barre, after 20 years, they had to get a new ballpark because it was just never maintained and taken care of. And that's the importance of having a good public partner like Lehigh County. So there's so many things that go into the success. But, I think generally speaking, within Major League Baseball and minor league baseball, we're probably referred to as constantly as one of the top 3 teams, and not just in terms of attendance, but we're lucky that we have an ownership group that lets us invest and do things the right way. So when we announce promotions and we give out 3,000 items or bobbleheads instead of just 1,000 or 500, and I encourage people sometimes to go outside of Lehigh Valley to go to a baseball game, a minor league game, because I don't think people realize sometimes just how lucky that our fans are in terms of the facility, the team, the fun, goofy, promotions and entertainment we offer.
I was down at a Phillies spring training game, and that park is beautiful down in Clearwater. But I mean, it's the same. It's the same experience. They have the same thing. The tiki bars and the seating is basically the same. It's a very good experience down there, and it's a great experience for you, for your team. Merchandising, you get. I see people, like when I go, it's like I'm a Yankee fan, so I go there and I see all the people, with their Yankee gear and their Yankee hats. And I get the same feel when I go to an Iron Pigs game. It's like so many people with Iron Pigs gear, and you could see it walking around the Lehigh Valley. I go to a lot of bars and restaurants, and I see Iron Pigs, and it's a really good feel. So merchandising is a big part of your success.
Good news for you. We take and accept all kinds. So even Yankees fans are welcome to Coca-Cola Park. We prefer Phillies fans. But when you come to an Iron Pigs game, you don't even have to be a baseball fan. So much of our market are people who aren't even baseball fans. They just want to come and be entertained and have a great time. But, it's a lot of pride when you see people wearing Iron Pigs gear. And we do so many different alternate identities and fun nicknames and logos besides the Iron Pigs that kind of tie into the local history. what the Lehigh Valley is about. So to have a mummers night, on our salute to Philadelphia, or to do different things that pay homage to what we're doing here in the Lehigh Valley, it's neat to see people wearing in public your apparel. It's like they're proud of you and your brand, and they wear it like a flag. You're only willing to put so many things on your clothes and wear and have that much pride in. So again, it's almost like a responsibility when you see that. But it feels great that we don't have consumers. We have fans, and they're much more engaged in your product.
Yeah. It's great. It's like when I go around and I see somebody wearing a Yingling hat or a Miller Lite hat, and I'm like, yeah, all right, even if I'm in like nowhere near where I sell beer. It feels good. It feels good. Best experience you've had in your 17 years, besides meeting me?
Well, that's number one. That's up there pretty high. There's a few times that you kind of pinch yourself and you say, I'm just blessed to be in the world that I am. And sometimes there's small moments where you get to provide an opportunity for a kid to get an autograph, or someone that might have been different abilities or different needs, and you have a chance to provide them with experience they normally wouldn't have. Like our Sweets and Treats event at Halloween, we have probably 800 to 1,000 kids that otherwise wouldn't be able to participate in Halloween because they're differently abled or have ability access issues. Those are really special moments. And when our charities and our foundation is able to give back to groups, and you see how that money is used and to help kids have opportunities to play baseball or to play any sport, those are special. There's other times, I think the promotions for me are huge in terms of you plan a promotion sometimes now 2 years out, and to see it come to fruition, and you see people wearing that logo or that item, that's special. And then just on a beautiful summer night when the ballpark is packed and there's 10,000 people and it's a perfect environment and the sun's setting and people are enjoying an ice cold Yingling or Miller Lights and they have a hot dog and you just know that you're part of creating memories for that group or memories across the Lehigh Valley. It comes with some onus and hours to make that happen, but you feel like you're giving back to the community because you're providing this experience that now has become kind of a landmark or an institution.
So it's more like an overall, just this overall great feeling you get, not one pinpoint thing like, hey, Reggie Jackson came into Coca-Cola Park.
Sure. I remember the times that Bryce Harper came in or Ryan Howard or Jimmy Rollins or Chase Utley or Pedro Martinez, and they packed the ballpark, and it's special because you're recognizing there's kind of a man among boys on the diamond that night. But to me, those aren't planned moments that you're a part of. You kind of take them as a fan and you look forward to them. But the moments that mean the most are the ones that you spent time and hours planning, such as, in 2010, we hosted the AAA All-Star Game at Lehigh Valley. And that was a 2 or 3 year planning process to host, the major stars across all the AAA teams, all the Major League affiliates. And you had events, the Home Run Derby and the actual game and Pigapalooza, which is a fan festival. Mm-hmm. So, to do those types of events or a national championship game that we hosted in 2013, some of the events for me, too, that, Joe, mean a lot. We did a funeral giveaway. We gave away a funeral, and everyone's kind of like laughing. And it's Landis and his goofy, fun promotions. And I said, well, just wait, because the theme of the night's going to change a little bit, because we had offered a free funeral, and people had to write in and provide an essay as why they deserved the free funeral. And some were fun and goofy, but the man we had chosen wrote it himself. He was anticipating dying because of his disease. I believe he had ALS. And he wrote it, and he just wanted to save his family from having to pay for this funeral. They didn't have many means, and this was a way for him to kind of give back and relieve his family of that burden. And so he won, and we had a lot of media there, all over from Philadelphia and New York. There's not this funny story about giving away a funeral. It was crazy. And then in the fifth inning, the man and his daughter took the field, and the daughter read the essay on behalf of the man. And, Joe, I've never seen 10,000 people cry in a ballpark. And I get goosebumps thinking about it a little bit, because it was such an emotional moment. The players stopped, they watched, they listened, and players were crying between innings because the story was so real. And so it went from being something crazy goofy to, which I love, to also helping someone that had a huge need in the community. and it would kind of serve both ends. So that's an example of what I enjoy a part of the job.
Yeah. So touching on, like you were mentioning some names, what are some of the biggest guys that have come through Coca-Cola Park on either side, home or away, that came through rehabbing? And, I know those are big nights, Bryce Harper or whatever.
We love Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was with us last year for 2 days, and the Phillies at first thought he'd be with us for 5. We announced Bryce Harper, and within 4 hours we had sold out 5 games in a row. And he was only with us for 2, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because we would have loved to have had him all 5, but he was hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He had 2 home runs, a game-winning double. He was obviously ready to return to the Phillies, and he did. That's probably the biggest rehab that we've ever had. We also had, I mentioned Pedro Martinez, and when he first signed with the Phillies in 2009 to help them prepare for their World Series run at that point, that was huge. I mean, Pedro Martinez is a Hall of Fame pitcher, Absolutely. Very popular. Crazy enough, Hideki Matsui, that was a huge one. He was an international star at the time that he came to Lehigh Valley, did a rehab appearance. Again, back in 2008 to 2012, to have Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and most recently Brandon Marsh. There's a lot of Brandon Marsh fans that love him. But it's been great to see, even other players that come up and played through the IronPigs organically, not just from rehab. So, Reese Hoskins played with us, and Bryson Stott, and Bohm. So players that we have now that have made and continue to make meaningful contributions to the Phillies. It's neat to see, the stars of today. And this year, we're going to have a good team this year. I know the Phillies have been aggressive signing guys who have played in the majors before successfully, but are now either at the tail end of their careers or they've had an injury. So they're going to have a lot of good parts. That's not doing them justice because they're good, really players, just to say parts, but they have a lot of good players that'll be at AAA. So that if there is an injury or a misstep at the Phillies, there will be very little issue with depth because you have guys ready to jump in and make a contribution because they have guys that have played many, many years at Lehigh Valley.
So you actually answered a question I didn't even ask. So I was going to ask you about the current Phillies and past Phillies that have come through the IronPigs organization. So one other thing, is there any natural rivalries that you get within your league? I know when Columbus is there, I'm sorry, it's actually now, it used to be Columbus. That's how old I am. When Wilkes-Barre Scranton's there, I like to get to see a game, and there's Yankee fans there, and who's Atlanta isn't that Gwinnett or something? Yeah, so I see Atlanta fans. So is there any natural rivalries? Because I don't know if these guys, do they hang around long at your level? I mean, I don't know much about it. You can just let me know, as they're coming up. It's it's like AA, AAA, and you're either going up or you're going down. What's the life, who's on the team for more than how many years?
Sure. So first off, for rivalries, there are rivalries because, and these guys are competitive. They're on the field. They're naturally competitive. They want to win. There is a side of minor league baseball that the guys are trying to develop. So sometimes you're frustrated because a guy goes out and pitches 3 incredible innings, and he's doing great, and he doesn't come out for the 4th because he has a lot of pitch count. And that wouldn't happen necessarily at the major league level. But Yankees, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre team, that's a rivalry partly because there's certainly a lot of Yankees and Phillies fans in the market, and the Phillies used to be in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre for a number of years as the Red Barons. So there's a natural rivalry there with the fans and even with the coaching staff to some degree. The players, I don't think the rivalry exists as much for the players as it used to, outside the fact that they're competitive, they want to win, and they recognize and they feel the rivalry that's in the Valley with the Yankees and sometimes the Mets. Syracuse is a Mets franchise. There's a lot of Mets. You'll see a lot of Mets gear, and maybe not as much as the Yankees, but so the players, it's hard to answer your question in terms of how long they're there. So we'll have some players who have played in the minors for 6, 7, 8 years, who are very successful. they've probably had a cup of coffee at the majors, but they just can't make that final step consistently. Or they might have been in the majors for 2 or 3 years and they had an injury or a setback or their starting job was taken and they're just trying to fight to stay alive. But they're great players. They're going to make the play in the field 99 times out of 100. But at the major league level, they're doing it 99.5 times or 100 times out of 100. Right. There's very little difference between a AAA player and a major league player. Very, very little difference. Yeah. It's more of a mental approach and being able to hit that grind daily and to take care of your body daily. And the rewards are great, right? But then there's some players that, by the time they get to AAA, they've had a lot of success. But there is a level of difference getting from AA to AAA. I mean, the pitching's, again, there's pitchers that hit their spots, their corners, really, really consistently at speeds that they want to throw. And the AA, there's still some experimentation, and you can hit accidents. There's very few accidents from pitchers at the AAA and major league level.
Yeah. So when guys are getting called up or getting sent down, are you the guy that does that, or is it basically it's you and not the manager?
No, it's the manager. So I operate the ballpark and the business operations of the IronPigs, and then the Phillies, they'll hire the coaching staff, and of course they obviously hire the players. So they're responsible for the players' salaries and health benefits, and then the IronPigs are responsible for pretty much everything else. So their housing when they're traveling, the actual travel arrangements themselves, the transportation, bus, airfare, what might be the case. We take care of most of the equipment cost. We take care of the uniforms. We take care of all the facility at the ballpark. So it's really the Phillies taking care of, we're salaries and health benefits, and they make the decisions in terms of who's starting tonight, and you've had you're not doing so well, you're going back to Reading in AA, or hey, congratulations, you'd like to move you up to the Phillies. And I wish I was in the room sometimes when that happens, because it's a pretty special moment for the players, and they come out of the coach's office and to see for many years and years of hard work to that moment, and that memory happens in Lehigh Valley for these players where they hear it the first time.
Yeah. Is it really like it's after the game and the guy goes, oh, listen, or middle of the game, hey, get in your car and drive to Philly?
It can be both. It's usually after a game, and these guys, they have access to TVs and games and social media. Sometimes they'll have a hope or a sense because they'll hear or see of an injury, or they'll know that a guy might be going on a parental leave or a maternity leave, might be, or paternal leave, I should say. So they're hopeful. So you get called in the office, there might be a glimmer of hope. But you never know. You get called in the office, that can be bad news as well. Trades happen that players aren't aware of, and it depends on your manager's personality. Sometimes they have a manager and a player that everyone loves because they've been in the system for a long time, or they're just a good character. And Derek Hall, 2 years ago, Derek Hall is a first baseman. He's played with the Phillies now a decent amount. A great person, been in minor leagues for a while. When he was called up, our manager found out late after the game. The guys were all back at the hotel, and he called people down for a team meeting in the hotel, and everyone thought something's the matter. You don't call team meetings, right? Someone did something wrong. Calls teams together, and he announced that Derek Hall was being moved up immediately. And the whole team just broke down and celebrated in the hotel lobby. And that's not something that would probably normally happen. But because of him and his personality and the amount of time he's played, that was a special moment.
Oh, that's really cool. So as things are getting ready for you guys to open up, any special events, promotions you got lined up this year you could tell us about that, like any kind of great fun things? I know you're loaded with them, but
do you have an hour?
Yeah. We're on the meter here. So.
There's 75 games, and we treat each one as a different theme. And the popular ones are sometimes as simple as fireworks or giveaways. That we have a giveaway. I think we have giveaways 35 out of the 75 games, and we have a fireworks 28 times. That's a record number of fireworks shows for us pretty much every Friday, Saturday, and then some holidays on top of that. But there's also ones that are coming up that are just special, really special. This year we have all of our pork racers, from crispy bacon to ham bone and barbecue. All of our pork racers are participating in the presidential race. So throughout the year, they'll be hamming it up for votes. And at the end of the year, whoever has the most votes, we're going to provide a bobblehead with. So that's going to be exciting. To our salute to Philadelphia, we've been Philly Special. We've had John. We've been Jimmy's, the sprinkles, the name. So each year we'll change our name to do a salute to Philadelphia. This year was the Mummers. So we're going to salute the Mummers Day Parade and wear very theatrical, bright-colored uniforms and salute the Mummers. We have a lot of different things coming up promotionally throughout the schedule that are, in fact, you just have to go to IronPigsBaseball.com and you can click on our promotional schedule. You can see, depending on what your interest is, for weekend, weekday, you have every Thursday is a happy hour from 5 to 7 with discounted beer specials.
They're a lot of fun on the patio.
On the patio. And then, I mentioned this one because it's topical over the last week or two. We still have dollar dog days. So every Tuesday is a dollar dog days, hot dogs for only $1. We've not had any issues with people throwing them on the field or at players. So that will be very popular, continue to be very popular. And also on Tuesdays, dog day is not just hot dogs. It's also canines. So every Tuesday you can bring your pooch to the ballpark.
That is so cool. So you said you have 1,000 different food items. Could you name them all, please?
Again, another long part of the second of the show. The most popular items still remain the simple ones that people want to come out to the ballpark for. Hot dog, beer, chicken tenders, fries. But it's amazing. We have people come to the ballpark just for shucks roasted corn, or they love the cinnamon roasted nuts. My favorite that has gained popularity every year, and we sell a lot of it, bacon on a stick.
Oh, yes.
Candied maple bacon on a stick, which is heaven in your mouth.
Yes. If I would ever go to an Iron Pigs game and not see Tony Barzinski with a bacon on a stick, it would be a shock to me.
Charlie Manuel comes to the games, and Larry Boa, and I'll have a chance to come down and say hi to them. And they love the bacon on a stick. I just know when I see them at the ballpark, I'm just going to come down and give Charlie bacon on a stick. And he's one of the guys that's fun to host at the ballpark. We also have, you name it, any type of sandwich. We have a new turkey sandwich this year. We have a turkey barbecue. We have nacho porker, which is, nachos with cheese, but with pulled pork on it. It's incredible. Pork parfait. You have the turkey legs. I mean, there's something for everybody. In fact, when you come to the ballpark, there's 2 websites that you have to visit besides the primary website. And we send out a know before you go each time you have tickets to a game. But you have to go to porkillustrated.com, which tells you about that game's promotions. It tells you about who's starting and the players and stats and so forth. But the most important one to me is pigsfoodfinder.com, because you can't look at pigsfoodfinder.com and not, have your mouth water. You see all the options on the website and where it's located and how much, and it's incredible.
So it's a road map.
Yes,
it's actually a map of the stadium. Yes, I use it all the time because I like to know where our beer is. So, going to the game, average ticket price. So I know you have certain levels. I know. But what's the average ticket price? I know, Joe, you're used to the VIP seats, and I wouldn't sit anywhere else. The average ticket price is just over $11. We actually just completed. We do this annually with minor league baseball teams. So out of 120 baseball teams, take a guess where the Iron Pigs rate out of 120 baseball teams in terms of affordability. I'm going to say number 1. Well, no, we're not there. At the AAA level, most teams at AAA are higher priced than AA, and AA higher priced than single A and so forth. But out of 120 teams for a AAA team, we were in the 70s as far as affordability. So an average family of 4 can come to the ballpark for less than $70.
which is amazing, and that includes the price of four beers and or 4 sodas, hot dogs, parking. So it's a very affordable outing. But our tickets are $12 each for any field level seat, and then we have general admission, which is the Capital Blue Cross lawn in center field. You know what we call fans that sit in the lawn, right? Pigs in a blanket.
Pigs in a blanket. Okay.
You know where pitchers warm up at the ballpark, right?
I do not.
It's the pig pen,
Oh.
not the bullpen. The pig pen. Sorry, I can tell your laughter is bursting out with all my bad jokes.
No, they're fine. They're fine. They're great jokes. So I hope that everybody this year can get out to see the Iron Pigs. It's a quality product at a quality stadium, and with quality products. I know I just saw that Kurt went over some of the food, but I just saw you had like a little demonstration there at the ballpark, and some of the food's amazing. So I suggest that everybody get out there, get out to see it, have an ice cold Yingling, Miller Lite, Leinenkugel, or any beer or that you choose, because anybody that drinks a beer helps the beer industry. The beer industry helps Banko. So, Kurt, I want to thank you very much for sharing some time with us today, and nothing but great success and great partnership, my friend.
Yeah, Joe, well, seriously, thank you, my friend. Banko's been a partner of the IronPigs for many, many years, and it takes a village, right? I mean, so many partners, beer or otherwise, that help us keep our prices low, and that affordability, like I mentioned before, really drives people coming to the ballpark, and it drives people being able to experience what we have to offer. So, all of our corporate partners, vendors, it means the world to us to have your support.
Well, we're happy to do it. Thank you, Kurt.